Is going on the catch? Fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. I hope everyone out there is having a great start to the weekend. Hope you
Yeah.
guys are maybe recovering from Thursday night football last night, actually being good for once, and maybe having guys like CeeDee Lamb or DK Metcalf against you, but maybe having some players in that game in your starting lineup. And hope you guys are ready for week 13 of the NFL season because it is kicking off about 2 days here. So week 13 of the fantasy season, right around the corner. So you guys know what we are here for tonight. Fantasy Q&A, anything that you guys need, start sits, waiver wire adjustments, defense and kicker adjustments, roster reviews, trade questions, dynasty questions, whatever you guys need pertaining to week 13 of the fantasy season. Come on through. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some fantasy football tonight. And of course, per usual, on Fridays, we've got Pete from After the Review Sports in the house. What's going on, man?
Not much, not much. It was a fun Thursday finally. I mean, I had DK Metcalf in the Catch Fam League, in my family in the Big Money League, played against CeeDee Lamb, but I had Pollard, I had Ferguson. It was just like points everywhere. It was a blast, fun game. And the Cowboys won. I hate the Cowboys, but I needed the Seahawks to lose for my Vikings. So all good all around.
Yeah, so we haven't talked really, at
I
least
don't want
on
to talk
it.
about that. That Monday Night Football game never happened. I do want to say we text about some things before the game about bet wise. I
Yeah,
called it last week.
we
I
did.
said Josh Dobbs is not a quarterback anymore. They need to get rid of him.
I didn't really end up placing like the any of the bets that I was looking at for the night because I just got a weird feeling about the game. Luckily, but I literally, if I just went through the text that we had and listened to you as a diehard Vikings fan, everything would have hit. So, I mean,
I do. DJ Moore did kind of screw us, but he had a huge game, but he just didn't get in the end zone because it was the only one. But yeah, I know my team bad. I knew watching that Broncos game was like Josh Dobbs is not can't play quarterback in this league. Can't throw the football. Can't throw the football.
so who's going to start at quarterback now?
It sounds like it's gonna be Hall, possibly. I want it to be Nick Mullins. If they're trying to make the playoffs, it should be Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins has, he's like 5-12 as a starter. He's not terrible,
Sure.
and he knows the offense. Like, there's no reason to start Dobbs. He doesn't know the offense, and they don't use him on the ground anymore. So I don't know. I guess Hall. We'll see. He had one good drive against Atlanta before he got his brain scrambled. I don't know, but they got to win like 3 games. The Packers are coming on fast, and I'm very concerned now.
Yeah, Rams look okay. They might be getting healthy. Seattle, I mean, at least kept up with the Cowboys, and I mean, had the Niners a week before. They're still in the mix, but those last two spots, because I think everyone is assuming safely that
Yeah,
Dallas or Philly's taking
Philly.
one of the three spots. Probably, I don't know. We'll see how that.
Probably Philly. I mean,
Yeah,
probably,
yeah.
but you
Um,
never know.
so I think that those last two spots for the NFC wild card are really interesting right now. Actually, a lot to pay attention to.
I mean,
So
if you
when
mean
JJ
interesting,
returns,
bad. If you mean bad, it's like
well, I like the bad
nine.
teams sneaking in there, man.
We could get like 6 teams at 9-8, very realistically. But
9-8 is probably enough to make the playoffs in the NFC this year. Yeah, for sure. And the NFC South is a complete mess. Like you got the Saints, Bucks, and Falcons all
Panthers
potentially.
still technically alive.
Yeah,
Carolina's still alive. We're getting in, Carolina.
absolute mess. So when JJ returns, Nick Mullins potentially, you feel okay from a fantasy perspective?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you want a guy that can throw the football. Like
Sure.
Nick Mullins can throw a football. I mean, and that helps. You have Addison, you have Jefferson, you have Hawkinson, and KJ Osborne is in the ether, and we got my man Powell. We got a lot of weapons. You need somebody that can throw the football. Nick Mullins can throw the football.
Well, I am rooting for the Vikings. I
I'm
will say
not.
that much. All right, let's take a look at the news real quick, and then we'll start hopping into your guys' fantasy questions. So Bailey Zappi will start this week against the Chargers. We'll see how long he stays in, if Mac Jones pops in or not. It's usually what happens with this team. Malik Cunningham also have a package of plays, so that's a thing. If anyone is curious. Could affect guys, I guess, like Pop Douglas or Ramondre, but I don't know. I think they're both still solid starts. On the same topic, the Browns will be starting Joe Flacco officially at quarterback against the Rams. So that is exciting news. Um, I mean, Flacco played a bit last year. Guys like Amari Cooper and Joku will probably be okay, but I wouldn't put it more past that. I think I read a stat that Joe Flacco he checks the football down a ton, so keep an eye on Jerome Ford. Could see a little bit, elevation in PPR leagues, but Joe Flacco is going to play football this weekend. Aaron Jones is out for Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. Dalton Schultz, a tight end, expected to miss Sunday's game. That's a big, good matchup for him. He's not going to be out there, so that's kind of big for some of you guys. And Devon Achane will play against the Commanders this week. Dallas Goedert has been participating in practice. And that's about it. No update on Zach Charbonnet. I've read mixed things on what happened there, if it's going to be serious or not. But nonetheless, the curse of the Seattle running back continues. So we'll keep an eye on it. All right, so let us know what you guys need, and let's talk some fantasy football. All right, play Ridley or Garrett Wilson in the flex this week. Well, I would probably go. I'd probably go Ridley. I say just go with the upside here.
Yeah, you have to. Like Garrett Wilson. Tim Boyle makes me want to gouge my eyes out watching the Jets offense. Like Ridley's got 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks, so maybe it's a thing now. Maybe it's a thing.
I agree. The Bengals have not been. They're bottom 12 against wide receivers. This defense kind of gives me the same feeling as the Jets, where like this season is starting to plummet, and some of these guys are just not completely stepping up. I mean, I think Garrett Wilson's okay. Like, I think he's always okay. But the Falcons top 10 against wide receivers this year, and I agree. The quarterback play, it's just going to be awful. Plus, I think there's a good chance that the Jaguars kind of have a statement game this weekend. Like, they've kind of been doubted. They had the big win against Houston, but they've just kind of been like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The last 2 weeks, they've been throwing the football. Trevor Lawrence looked great. But I think just in a prime time spot with the opportunity just to put up a lot of points, I really think there's potential there. But they're the number 1 team in the AFC right now. So, all right, need Burrow to come back, make that happen. I wish, man. I wish. I cannot. Rams or Colts defense. So I will go the Colts for a floor. Go the Rams for upside, but I still think there's a lot of risk with the Rams. They're the second worst defensive team this year in terms of fantasy points. I just they don't really give up a ton of points. They're a pretty good defense in real life, but they've not been a good fantasy defense.
I picked them up this week. I think Joe Flacco can't move. Like Cleveland's offensive line is not what it has been because of the injuries. Like Joe Flacco's not going anywhere, 40 years old or whatever he is. So Aaron Donald, we might get a couple of sacks here this week finally.
I think they're fine. I don't know. This is a tough week for streaming defenses because there's so many potentially like really good options because there's so much, I don't know, so many bad quarterbacks that are going to play this week. So I think they're okay. I'm a little hesitant because they haven't really done anything fantasy-wise this year. But I don't know, double digits against Arizona in week 6, double digits against Green Bay in week 9. So they're at home. And like I mentioned earlier, this Rams team, I don't know, they're kind of okay.
It just could go really bad for Flacco at quarterback. Like 3 turnovers, 6 sacks. Like I think it's a very high. Like I agree, it could go bad, but it could go like really, really good for the Rams.
That's completely fair. I don't have a problem with it. And I like the Colts a lot, like the rest of the season, but I don't really think they're like an upside play. They're the defense 9. They've had double digits 3 games in a row. It's a road game, but Will Levis just has looked, I don't even know, non-existent.
It's like not even bad. It's like not bad. It's like it's not even there. It's just like a guy. It's exactly so weird.
Yeah. So I think they're fine, but if you want the upside, you go with the Rams. It's kind of an unknown. It's not like we were really starting the Rams too often before this week, but we've had a lot of these circumstances with these backup quarterbacks coming in. So, have Browns defense been looking at picking up the Steelers or Jags? Yeah, I don't really like the Browns this week. I haven't really liked them a lot this year. Kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. Like, they're not really a good fantasy defense. Well, I guess they're the defense 4 technically, so I'll take that back. But I don't know. They haven't looked too great the last 2 weeks against Denver and Pittsburgh. So, I go the Jags out of these options. Actually, I like the Steelers a lot, like for the rest of the season, but I don't really like them this week against Arizona.
Arizona's gonna run the ball, and Pittsburgh, like, okay, like, yeah, we'll stop the run and then throw right behind you. That secondary is bad. So I think they're gonna pound James Conner and then go right behind them, and that's kind of how you beat this Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah. I'll go the Jags personally. All right, let's see. Jets, a lot of defensive questions tonight. All right. Jets D versus the Falcons, already starting Bijan, or Bucks D versus the Panthers. I like the Bucks. I like them a lot. Maybe there's something here, like, new coaching and everything.
There is a thing with new coaching, like,
Sure.
teams win, but like they can't throw the football, Carolina, and that's the thing that the Bucks are bad at. So
I know. I like the Bucks a lot this week. I think the Jets are.
They can't stop the Jets can't stop the run. Bijan, they might. Arthur Smith, we didn't even talk. Arthur Smith finally listen to everybody. 41 carries last week for his running backs. Like, just pound the rock. Just do that. And the Jets' run defense is bad.
It's bad. Oh gosh, it's awful. I don't really trust the Jets defense. I just don't. If you take away the big pick 6 last week, like, it was an awful performance. I have a bad feeling about this Jets defense the rest of the year because I just feel like this team is slowly falling into the realization that they're not going to be a playoff team that Aaron Rodgers saves this year. So, yeah, we'll go Bucks. Skylar, full PPR, flex, Amari Cooper or Jaden Reed. Am I safe with Falcons defense or should I play the Browns or the Rams? I like the Falcons because Tim Boyle. I mean, and it's, if I'm going to say that, it's safe or fair to say that if you want to go Rams because Joe Flacco, that's fine too. It's not like the Falcons defense has been that good this year, but yeah, you're fine with the Falcons defense. If you like the Rams, that's okay too. Who would you flex, Pete, Cooper or Reed? Cooper's going to play. He's got Flacco.
I don't hate Cooper this week. It's like Flacco's gonna. I don't know. I wonder what Flacco. I think Flacco was good with Wilson last year in New York, and so he finds his primary guy. You talk about check downs. Like, if we're going primary receiver, I'm going to throw it in there. Flacco will throw it in there. Like, he's an NFL quarterback. He's won a Super Bowl. He's not going to be Tim Boyle over here checking it. Just God knows what he's doing. So I don't hate Amari Cooper this week, honestly. But I kind of want to see it. It's like one of those, like, you want to see it though. Sure. I hate taking that risk.
Last year, Joe Flacco's best fantasy performance out of the 4 games he played in was against the Browns in week 2. 25 fantasy points.
That's why they got him.
4 passing touchdowns in that game. But don't get it twisted. The following week, he had 52 passing attempts, 28 completions, 285 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 3 lost fumbles.
Making him throw the ball 50 times is a crime against humanity.
He was sacked 4 times. 2.4 fantasy points. I think Cooper's okay still. I just want to look at Joe Flacco's stats. But I really like Jaden Reed. Like, I think Jaden Reed is so safe. It's a tougher matchup for Reed. It's not necessarily a great matchup for Cooper, but I like Jaden Reed a lot right now. And like, what's going to happen with this offense. If they're on the road, I probably wouldn't like Jaden Reed as much. But no, they are on the road. I'm sorry. No, they're not. They're at Lambeau. That's right. So I don't know. I'll go Jaden Reed. I'm worried about Cooper. I am. I think he's okay, but I'm worried about him. All right. One flex spot, full PPR. Moss, Pacheco, A-Chain, or Puka. Yeah, Devontae Chain is going to play. Washington really bad against the run in the pass and everything. If you just want like a sprinkle of upside, like I don't, and especially I want you guys to, if you own Devontae Chain and you had a player like DK Metcalf or CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, you feel like you're going into this weekend with an advantage. I think A Chain's okay to start, but I think the safest play here is Pacheco. Personally, who do you like, Pete?
Um, I don't know, man. Like, I know Tennessee's defense is good, but Zach Moss, like, they just give him the rock and he chunks off yards. No JT. He's like a good starting back, and he's got fresh legs. I would imagine he's had the workload cut. Pacheco is very safe. Like, man, I love the way Pacheco runs. He runs like a madman. They need to do that more, and they kind of figured that out. They ran the ball a lot more effectively, and it opened up the passing game for Kansas City. Changing your home run hit, like you're going for bust. He got hurt on the third play of the game last time with the knee, same knee. Puka's not, who knows? Cleveland D, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. I think, like you said, Pacheco's your safe play here. I really like Zach Moss. If you want to go crazy, play A Chain. I'm starting A Chain. I got no other choice at running back, so I have to start him. But it's a risk. Like you said, if you got a home run on Thursday night and you can play him, play him.
I do like Zach Moss. It's not the best matchup on paper, but he had like 20, 30 points against the Browns last time he played them. Or excuse me, the Titans. He had 33 and a half points. It was his best game of the year. So I don't know if it really matters. Granted, that was a home game. This is an away game, but
they're in the thick of it too. Like they have to stick to. They can't just dick around and throw the football. Like they have to play a balance. They have to win. Like they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Moss, okay. I don't dislike him. I like Pacheco though. I mean, Pacheco's just been very consistent. It's a good matchup. It's at home, or gosh, it's an away game. I don't know why I keep getting Lambeau and Arrowhead mixed up. I'll go Pacheco, but there's definitely options here. I won't be surprised if Moss or even A-Chain outscore Pacheco. I'm kind of off on Puka this week. Cup and Chase scare me. Need 3. Pittman, Chase, Cup, Reed, Deontay, standard. Need 3. Okay. Standard, we want to consider guys who might find the end zone this weekend. So, I mean, really, regardless, I would start Pittman. He's been so good this year. Maybe not as good in standard compared to PPR, but I like Pittman a lot. This is tough. Cup coming off the injury, he's probably going to play against the Browns.
He doesn't look like Cup just doesn't look right. It feels like his career has gone and pat. It feels like his career is kind of over. We saw this with Todd Gurley. It's just like one of those things like he ain't got it anymore.
It's so tough. And it's tough at Chase too, because I think Chase is fine. It's a good matchup for him. I talked about this last night. Like, you can start Jamar Chase this week, but you just can't expect like a high ceiling. The targets were there last week. He did what he could with them. Higgins is going to be back this week. That might help alleviate more defensive pressure, I guess.
I mean, their 2 best plays were balls that Pittsburgh deflected for Cincy. Like, I just don't know if they couldn't throw it against Pittsburgh secondary. Now, life was a little difficult up front for Jake, but
well, if you said Chase and Cup, I mean, I think Jaden Reed is fine to start, but like Deontay Johnson,
Deontay Johnson.
It's a good matchup for him, but this is standard. It's like I really just want to think about either some of these guys just better play.
Just
Pittman.
Just play Chase then. Just play
right. I think you go Pittman, Reed, and Chase. I think you do.
Well, you can look. There you go. You can make the decision. You go Pittman and then Reed or Chase, and you can see what Pittman does. If you need a home run game, maybe go risk it with Chase. If you need like a safe game, Reed should have a safe game for you.
That's fair. Yeah, definitely tough here, but I would always encourage you. I mean, try to think about who you think will have the best opportunity to find the end zone in a standard league. Happy PR, Downs or Olave? I really like Downs this week. I think he's fine, but Olave should be started this week. The Lions secondary is not good. Like just flat out, they were good the first couple of games of the year, but they have been playing like awful. I mean, they're one of the worst secondaries in the league over these past couple of weeks. And I don't care who the quarterback is for the Saints. Olave was on pace for like 200 yards last week before he got hurt. So I'm gonna go Olave for sure. Javante or Hall? It's just kind of like, Javante's a safer play, but Brees Hall can always go crazy. It's just his offense sucks now. So I think for a floor, you go Javante. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, go Brees Hall. It's not particularly a great matchup for Brees Hall, but I don't know if that matters. Like if he gets involved in the pass game, I guess I'll go Brees Hall. I feel like there's more upside there, so I'm starting him in the league this week. But the Falcons have been good against running backs. But Javante is like so up and down. He gets the Texans. He's definitely a safer play, but depends on if you want the upside. I think we like the Jaguars defense a lot this week. Talked about them a couple minutes ago. So, Pete, would you go any other direction there?
No, I think you're on. Texas run defense feels like kind of the best part of that defense. I watched them pretty intently last week against Jacksonville, and Jacksonville didn't have much room to run. So
that surprised me. I was a little bit surprised by that. Yeah, go Olave for sure.
And it feels like Denver's opening it up. Like it feels like they're letting Russ cook. They're letting him cook.
I have to play Russ in the league this week because Lamar's on bye, and I'm
not a bad option. Yes, not a bad option at all.
Could have started Geno, but I mean, oh well, it is.
You're never starting Geno against the Cowboys, D.
I know. If Olave doesn't play, pick one full PPR: Hollywood, T, Higgy, Drizzy, London. I go Hollywood. I like Hollywood a lot this week. Great matchup for him. Looked much more involved in like normal last week. I go Hollywood for sure.
They were so terrible last week, so I expect them to look good this week. Arizona.
Yeah. Do you trade Olave for DJ Moore? I mean, I think it's a lateral trade. I would probably keep Olave though. Both are fine. Like they're in kind of a similar tier, but the Saints will be fighting for that playoff spot over these next couple games, where the Bears could just like completely implode any minute. So I love DJ Moore, and as long as Fields is healthy, DJ Moore will be a great start. But I'd probably keep Olave. Still love me some Olave. All right, flex one. We got a stacked bench, but 3 and 9. Never know who to start. Moss, Henry, Olave, Puka, Collins, Pacheco. I just start Derrick Henry. Another good matchup. His nickname is King Henry for a reason. Just start him. Once again, I really like Olave, and I think Pacheco's a good start. And Zach Moss. Nico Collins, not bad either, but I'm going to go Derrick Henry. Mixon or the most start? Most start for sure.
Got to play Mostert.
Yeah. Even if most start.
He gets the touchdown. He just gets touchdowns.
Even if Devontae Chain, Jeff Wilson get a lot of touches, it'll be Mostert in the red zone. This is drastically becoming one of the worst defenses against a run in Washington. And honestly, I'm really excited for this game because it's not like Miami's defense has been better the past couple of weeks. Jalen Ramsey's looked good. They've been causing turnovers. But Sam Howell and the Commanders just like don't care about anything. Like they're just going to try and score all game because they have nothing left to do this season. I think that they're going to fight back a bit in this game. And I think we're actually going to see some back and forth in this game. So I'm expecting points in that matchup. And if that doesn't happen, then the Dolphins will still score points. Let's go on to easy. Who would you roll with in week 15, first round playoffs? Cleveland, Baltimore, or Dallas? So we got Cleveland at Chicago. Might be hard to pass up. Baltimore at the Jags, Dallas at Buffalo. Yeah, there's a lot of potential in some of these matchups. I'm going to go Cleveland versus Chicago, though. I just think you have to. Because, like, the Jaguars game, Buffalo game, like, you could see those defenses show up, but we're going to start to see some of these games, guys, this time of year, similar to what we saw last night, where, like, flags might be a little wishy-washy. The refs might be kind of pushing this game a certain direction. We're going to see points scored. Just going to see guys score 3 touchdowns out of nowhere. So I don't know if I feel great about those matchups. Even though on paper, Dallas and Baltimore, very good defenses. I'll go Cleveland versus Chicago. Fields will at least fumble like once. Kyron, Bijan, or Moss non-PPR. Jeez Louise. All good starts, but I'm going to go Bijan.
Pick 2. Bijan and
pick 2.
Pick 2. We got no hard. It makes it a little harder. I know. Obvious. Bijan for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Kyron Williams is just so tough to bench. It is a bad matchup, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. They're at home. And like you said earlier, sometimes this Browns defense is just not good. I might go Kyron here, but I do really like Zach Moss. I think he's perfectly fine to play over Kyron if you don't like the matchup. But Kyron was so good when he was healthy earlier in the season.
He was good last week.
I know.
It's just good.
I think I go Kyron and Bijan, but it's very close. I would not hate anyone who played Zach Moss over Kyron in this situation. But go Bijan for sure. Andrea, hello. Good to see you. Rooting for Flacco. Also have Njoku. It's Joe Flacco season, baby. What's going on, John? Start 2.5 PPR. We got Downs, Collins, Mixon, Sutton. I'd probably start Nico Collins and Courtland Sutton, personally.
Yeah, Tank Dell's questionable. I think he's going to play.
Yeah,
Brown should be back. I don't know. Nico's just like, he's just super, super solid. They need to throw him the ball more on those underneath routes, which teams will maybe start covering those deep routes, so he's going to get open.
Yeah, I really hope. I mean, it looks like Tank Dell's trending to play. I want to see both those guys out there. Maybe be like a little bit wary if Tank Dell doesn't play, because then maybe we see a little bit of more of Pat Surtain on Nico, and even the rest of the secondary has been playing well the past couple of weeks. But I just stick to that matchup. I'm actually expecting points in that matchup, so I go Collins and Sutton, regardless of PPR or half PPR. Downs is still a good start. All right, Andrew needs 2. Mostert, Pacheco, Bijan, Stevenson. Whew.
Good choices.
Yeah. I could see any of these players outscoring each other. But I would personally play Mostert and Bijan. And I like Pacheco a lot this week. But
yeah.
It's just too good of a matchup. Mostert, even if he like barely does anything this game in terms of volume, can still score 2 touchdowns. And Bijan is on a roll. It's a good enough matchup. Display him. But Pacheco and Ramondre, good starts this week. All right, Andrea, once again, need 3. Chase, St. Brown, Olave, Devonta. Whew. I go St. Brown, Olave, Devonta Smith. I'll bench Chase.
Yeah, I would definitely go St. Brown and Smith, I think. And you can kind of...
I'm an Olave stan this week.
He's Olave stan. I can't support Derek Carr, okay? I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, Olave, there's a chance he doesn't play, so maybe it gets made easier. Because if he doesn't play, to start Chase.
Yeah.
But I really like Chris Olave this week against the Lions. So that's who I would roll with. But definitely tough decisions for you, Andrea. All right, here's a good one. Start Greg Dortch or Dearness Johnson. I'll start Greg Dortch.
Yeah, me too.
He's like 8+ targets the last 2 weeks with Kyler. Pittsburgh secondary is bad.
They're really
Dortch.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you need like someone to plug in like right now, go check if Greg Dortch is available, because I haven't really needed him in the league, but I'm looking around and if you ever have like a waiver player who just kind of like you're like kind of waiting all week. Like, I might pick him up. I might leave him there. I hope no one else picks him up. Greg Dortch might be that guy right now. Have like 10 plus points in PPR the last 2 weeks. Start Ramondre or Tank Dell, half PPR. That is a little tough because it's half PPR. This Chargers defense so weird. Like sometimes they're really good against a run, sometimes they're not good. I will go Tank Dell though. He's just playing lights out. I just keep him in my lineup.
He feels like a must start every week. Like even when we thought he's gonna have a bad week, he has a good week.
Yeah.
And do you really want to put your fate in what the Chargers are gonna do? No, no, you don't. Good or bad.
I'll go Tank Dell. I'm expecting points in that game, and I'll say it again. So fire him up. Which QB to stream? Carr or Minshew? It's a better matchup for Carr. But is he going to throw for 300 plus yards and 0 touchdowns? Is my question.
Probably. Like maybe, probably.
That's what he did last week. So
yeah.
I guess I'll go Derek Carr. I think Minshew's okay, but Minshew has not really scored fantasy points this year. It's not a great matchup on paper, and I mean, he had that one game against Cleveland. Other than that, 15 or less fantasy points every game this year. So I'll go Carr, but I don't like it, guys. I mean, I'm not jumping in joy, but I'll go Derek Carr, who also has not been great this year. But I'll go with the matchup, and his ceiling has been slightly higher, closer to like 17 or 18 fantasy points. Smokey, what is up, my dude? Who are the ones we like for a TD parlay? DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, Jake Ferguson. There's like FanDuel always has like for primetime games like a random anytime touchdown bet that they generate, and people like it'll show you how many people tailed it. They had one last night that was like CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, and DK Metcalf, and like 35,000 people like before the game kicked off tailed it. It was like apparently they lost a lot of money on that.
Big rip. Kittle anytime. Mike Evans anytime. I like those two. Kittle for sure. Philadelphia doesn't cover tight ends. And
no, they don't.
Kittle's kind of good at football. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's pretty good sometimes.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans feels like he catches a touchdown every week. It's just
right.
Mr. Reliable. 100 yards, 1 touchdown. That's his game.
I like Derrick Henry a lot. Colts run defense has not been great. I like Raheem Mostert a lot. I think he'll be the one to get the rock in the red zone, maybe early as well. I think Devin Singletary's okay against the Broncos. I love Rachaad White anytime touchdown this week against the Panthers. I loved him last week. He didn't come up with one. He will do it against the Panthers this week. I promise. You can put your mortgage on it. It'll be safe. I think Isaiah Pacheco's okay, but he's coming off such a big game. A little bit worried. How do you feel about Brandon Ayuk against the Eagles? Because he's had a touchdown in 2 straight weeks. And for me, as an anytime touchdown better, I get worried when someone's on a streak. I'm like, is it going to stop as soon as I bet on them? But
the Niners are like, we'll let you get all the streaks, Christian McCaffrey, but everybody else we pick, it's everybody else's week this week. It's not bad. The Eagles secondary is trash. I think that game's going to be very high scoring.
Ayuk and Debo scored last week. But I do like Kittle. I think that's a good call. I also kind of like Calvin Ridley, who's also been on a streak, but he gets a good matchup at home against the Bengals. But I don't look too closely at tight ends because they scare me. But I agree. I also liked Dalton Schultz, but he's not playing. So yeah, I think Kittle's a good call. Evan Ingram could be interesting. He hasn't scored all year, and the Bengals have been awful against tight ends. So, but yeah, for me, I really liked Tony Pollard. That's long gone. Glad he did score. I do like Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren. And I do think if you want to get risky and Smokey, you are a Steelers fan, you could put Najee and Jalen on the same ticket. I think both of them could score against the Cardinals. Royce Freeman and Kyron Williams had 3 combined touchdowns last week. So, Smokey, I will try to send you whatever I put in for the week on Instagram if I remember. All right. We were way behind the chat. I'm like,
let's speed run it. I know we go so
super slow.
fast. We get stuck.
Last week of trades, anything to upgrade, give up. We got Tua, Charles, Kamara, Tyreek, Devonta, Dell, Laporta, Watson. You're in first place. On the bench, you got Hunt, Dearness, Cook, DJ Moore, JSN, Elijah Mitchell, Gibson. Maybe if you want to upgrade somewhere, you kind of need James Cook because Charbs is hurt now. So you need to keep him. If you're in first place, I wouldn't change much. Your bench is basically handcuffs and DJ Moore. I mean, you're probably starting Cook over Charbs right now on a regular basis. I wouldn't change anything. Don't change anyone in your starting lineup. Maybe if you want to upgrade somewhere, you could take like Charbs or Cook and pair him with DJ Moore, or maybe JSN coming off a big game. That I would like that more. Maybe even Christian Watson, and you could take those 2 guys and upgrade somewhere because you have enough depth. But make sure you keep one of Watson, DJ Moore, or JSN as a flex option. And if you were to upgrade somewhere, I'd upgrade at running back because you look pretty stacked at wide receiver. All right, start 2 running backs in the flex: Etienne, Kamara, Kyron, Moss, or Pacheco. I mean, come on, man. How do you guys build these teams? Am I just bad at fantasy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Answer.
I think Etienne bounces back this week. I'd probably roll with him. I really like Kamara this week, though. I mean, I like all these guys this week. This is super tough. It's standard, so I might go Etienne.
I'm thinking Etienne and Kyron, and then you pick between Moss and probably Pacheco. I'd go Pacheco.
It's so close. I mean, I don't know. I really do like Zach Moss this week. I'm not trying to not like choose Zach Moss for some.
No, I think it's right. Like plus Kamara. Who the heck knows what's gonna go on there?
I'll say Etienne, Kyron, and Pacheco, but you can really go any direction here. Leaning towards benching Henry for Kyron Williams. Am I crazy? Meh. You're not crazy, but I think Henry's going to have a good game. Way better matchup for Henry than Kyron for what it's worth. Start the Broncos, Saints, or the Bucks defense. Excuse me. I'll go with the Bucks. Any other low-owned sleeper defenses is so hard to say right now because it's been like this, the best week ever to stream defenses. At least hopefully it turns out that way. Honestly, if you have the Bucks, I would just roll with the Bucks. But the Rams are fine. The Chiefs probably aren't available, but they're fine. The Falcons are fine. I like the Bucks a lot, though. Pickett, Carr, Minshew. I'll go Carr. But I think you can start Pickett this week. I mean, Matthew Stafford, from a fantasy perspective, did nothing all year, then had 30 points last week against the Cardinals.
But it's Matthew Stafford.
I know. Can Pickett do the same thing? I don't know. I probably just go Carr. But I just have that bad feeling that Pickett is it's going to be one of these guys that you're looking on the waivers what? He had 25 points, Would you go Logan Thomas or Jawan Johnson? Probably Jawan Johnson. I think he's a little bit less touchdown dependent compared to Logan Thomas. So I'll go Jawan Johnson. What's going on, Olrak? Full PPR, need 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex. We got Henry, White, Hunt, Allen, Chase, Thielen, Higgins, Watson. Henry and White are your running backs. Keenan Allen is your wide receiver. Always. I'll go Chase out of these options. And I'll go Christian Watson, who apparently does not suck. But If you don't like Watson, it's a tough matchup. You can go Adam Thielen. I know he's been bad, but this is a smash spot matchup. He had a good matchup last week, didn't matter. But the Bucs secondary is really bad. So
They're bad.
if you feel like you don't like Watson, maybe you don't want to bank on the last 2 games, you could go Thielen, I think. I feel bad about Higgins. I don't feel good about starting Higgins. Let's see how he does. We've seen what Chase can maybe do, So if you have Chase, that's one thing. But let's see what Higgins does with this change at quarterback. Bijan, Kamara, Kyron, Monty, A-Chain, bench 2. Jeez. I'm still starting Monty this week. I know it's the Saints, but they just got cooked by Bijan. I'm starting Bijan, Monty, and Kyron. But A-Chain and Kamara could be sitting on your bench with like 50 combined points. So.
That is true.
Tough calls at running backs for you guys this week. Due to bye week, people keep dropping players. I have first priority. I can pick up Gus Edwards, use waiver tonight, or wait Tuesday for Devin Singletary. I would get Gus. If you needed a play for this specific week, I would prefer Singletary, obviously, because Edwards is on bye, but it's also a great matchup for Singletary. But on the season, I'll take Gus the Bus. Dude has been a touchdown monster. All right, what's going on, Falcons fan? Full PPR, start 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Okay. Kupp, Puka, Wilson, London, Rice. We got Gibbs, Pacheco, Singletary. I will start Rasheed Rice, Garrett Wilson. Do we have to consider Kupp or Puka here? I guess you do. I mean,
I don't want to.
I don't really like Drake London. I feel like he's just going to be Sauce is going to be on him all game. That is the one matchup I don't feel good about. We're looking at the Jets defensively this weekend. I guess I'll go Puka because I don't know. I just want to be transparent with the fact that I personally don't feel good about Kupp this weekend, but don't let me be the deciding factor. He's still Cooper Kupp, but I don't feel good.
But is he Cooper Kupp? Is he?
I don't feel good. And yeah, with these options, I would start Gibbs, Pacheco, and flex Singletary. I would start 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs and then flex a running back. I don't feel great about London, Kupp, or Puka. Bench 1, Debo, Henry, Swift, Pacheco, Chase. Playing a bit from behind for first place in my league. That is tough. I will bench Chase out of these options, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though Philadelphia and Swift, I hate them. They can never make up their mind when they want to give Swift the ball or not.
Yeah, this could be a tough game for Swift. A little dinged up this past week. It's the Niners' run defense. But I don't know if I care. Let me ask you about that game. Who do you like in that game?
For those of you, go check out my channel. We got Backyard Bookies. I am taking the 49ers minus 2.5 this weekend. I think the Niners win this game. Philly's banged up. Philly's a little banged up on the trenches. Niners, they lost 3 in a row. When they're healthy, I'm like 95% sure they're the best team in football by a good bit when healthy. And Philly can't keep doing this. They play, but you can't play from behind against the Niners. Maybe the Bills. Definitely, you can play behind against the Bills. They'll shoot themselves in the foot. The Chiefs were the first team that they fit. This is 3 really physical, kind of tough games in a row. I think the Niners maybe take a sledgehammer to the Eagles this weekend. Little payback.
I can definitely see that happening too. It's just, like you said, this Eagles team has to be a little bit tired. They have to lose another game at some point, right?
Yeah, and not going to be to the Cowboys the week after. This is a gauntlet for the Eagles.
And they played. I feel like they have another big game coming.
Yeah, they have Dallas next week.
Well, yeah, but after that, but maybe I'm just. Dallas has a really tough schedule coming up too.
Do they? No.
Well, not tough, but just interesting games.
They do. True. Yeah, I mean, They could go 0-4 or 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Then
My
Washington week 18, always a little sneaky. But
that game probably not going to mean anything against
know.
Washington.
But yeah, Philly gets San Francisco, Dallas, Seattle, the Giants, Arizona, the Giants. Oh gosh. Wow. Oh goodness. Well, apparently
Schedule's
Seattle.
really backloaded for the good teams in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't know about that game this weekend, man. Eagles are the underdog, so if you like the Eagles, get plus odds. But I think I probably do lean the Niners. I personally probably won't touch that game, other than like a couple of receiving props. What's going on, Tommy? Let's go. Oh, the Huskies. I was like, wait, the Seahawks made the playoffs?
Nope. The Huskies. Cash that. Plus 300. Yeah. Plus 650 before the season. Cash it, baby.
There we go. Roll with the Niners this week or look on the waiver wire. I probably look on the waiver wire.
Yeah. I sat the Niners. I sat the Niners. I'm petrified.
Too risky. I mean, I don't know. You never know, but too risky. PPR sit one. We got Nico, Deontay, and Christian Kirko. Probably Deontay. Yeah, probably Deontay. What's going on, Casey? Good to see you. Mel, what's going on? Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. Need wide receiver 2, RB2, and a flex. I will go Olave. I will go Jerome Ford. I don't know, actually. I really like Jalen Warren this week. I'll probably go Jalen Warren. And then you can flex Jerome Ford if you want a really boring 10 points. Or you could start Christian Watson, go for some upside. Downs is okay, too. Laporte is okay. Anyone stand out to you?
Not really. Watson's got the hot hand, it feels like. But
yeah,
Kansas City's got a really good, like, Kansas City's defense isn't fake. They're real. They're for real.
Like I said, I'm an Olave stand this week.
Olave standing this week. I think that's fine.
Olave's got to be in there.
You're going to let everybody down if Olave doesn't play.
That's true. If Olave doesn't play, then
burn the stream. Burn the stream. Nobody watch it.
I'm probably cursing Olave right now. But yeah, I'd probably go Olave, Watson, Warren. Probably be my starts. If you don't feel good about Watson, you can go Josh Downs. What's the hype with Jawan Johnson? A bunch of the Saints wide receivers are banged up. Jawan Johnson's done it before. He was like a tight end 8 last year in fantasy or something. Obviously, different quarterback situation, everything, and he was really good in the red zone. And Carr sucks, so I don't know, but yeah, I think a lot of people are looking at the Saints wide receivers core being banged up, and I think Shaheed's going to play. So, but there's a point going in this week where it looked like Olave, Shaheed, and MT were all going to be out. So, try to trade Laporta, but can't get a solid wide receiver running back. Yeah, just hold him even behind Kelsey. Pitts, Thomas, or Otten? Otten. Just take the points. He'll give you points. He'll give you points for sure. It might not be a lot, but at least it's not Kyle Pitts. Logan Thomas, so touchdown dependent. Otten will get 5 targets for sure. What that'll turn into, I don't know, but he will get 5 targets.
Yeah, just take points at tight end. Just take points at tight end.
Yeah. A-Chain is back. My running back situation has changed slightly. I'm thinking I need 1 or 2 running backs. We got ETN, Brees, A-Chain, Connor. What do we think about the ETN injury? Rank them 1 through 4 in standard. If ETN suits up, I don't care. The injury becomes old news for me. If he suits up, he's out there. You start ETN. I probably go A-Chain, Brees, Connor. Just don't love James Conner this week. Been interesting. Beginning of the year, before he was hurt, he was getting the volume and the red zone work. Right now, he's just kind of getting the volume, and then Kyler is scrambling into the end zone. So Steelers aren't great against the run, not awful against the run, but I'd probably go ETN, A-Chain, Brees, Connor. If you like Connor more than Brees, that's fine. London may be okay. Sauce does not play that side of the field, I believe. Stays on the left. Yeah. Jets defense, weird, but I just don't feel good about Drake London. It's pretty decent last week, if I'm not mistaken, though.
He's been kind of okay every week.
He's been like, yeah, that's the thing. Drake London's always okay, right? But do you
not
feel
nearly as good as he should be
sure?
because Arthur Smith. And you
Yeah, he had 5 catches, 91 yards. So
that's a good day's work.
it's an Arthur Smith offense. It is.
Jeez, you might as well be Megatron out there.
No. Need a tight end. Who do I draw? Pickens or Schultz to pick up Kraft or Brevin Jordan? Have Kincaid on bye. Wow. If you there's 2 ways to look at this. If you drop Schultz, you might not get him back, but you have Kincaid the following week, and you just roll with Kincaid the rest of the season, right?
Can you stash Schultz? Maybe IR. He's out, possibly.
Yeah, it depends on the league format. If you drop Pickens, you might get him back. It depends on that if he has a good game this week or not. He just played the Cardinals. These are like the type of decisions that just suck, you know. I would drop Schultz, I guess, because at least you have Kincaid the rest of the year. Pickens might go off this week, and you might end up needing him because there's a lot of injuries and buys this week.
Why do we have buys so late in the season? Like, there's 16s on buy, and there's a few good fantasy teams on buy.
Week 13 buys should not be a thing at all. But I don't think the NFL really factors fantasy football into things.
Well, I think it's because Thanksgiving was so early this year, and it kind of like you can't have a buy on Thanksgiving. I bet you everybody's done by week 12 next year.
I forgot about that. I can drop the Packers. I have Cleveland. I'll drop the Packers defense. Yeah. You can pick up Juwan Johnson. Taysom Hill, when you really break down Taysom Hill's fantasy performances this year, for the most part, it's not because he was getting a ton of targets and catches, where usually that's the case. So most of it's been done on the ground. So, yeah, you don't need the Packers defense. Just roll with Cleveland and drop them and keep Schultz and Pickens. Have a good night, Andrea. Casey, you're welcome. Did I mess up your question? Oh, no. Okay, we're good there. I'm going to my second Joe Flacco game in 2 years, but this time he's starting for the Browns. That is crazy. Seeing Flacco in person 2 years in a row. At this point, you need to buy a Joe Flacco jersey. Herbie or Russell Wilson? Herbert. I like Russ as a streaming option, but you got to stick with Herbert. It doesn't even matter who he's facing. The Patriots defense hasn't even been that good. Just keep Herbert in your lineup. Would the Chargers season just be over if they lose this weekend? Like,
yes.
Can they come back from that?
Can they fire Staley? Maybe, please.
I heard rumors that they're just going to clear house, and I mean, how can you not at this point?
I like Kellen. Like, the offense is not the problem.
Could probably stay. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't understand why you wouldn't fire Staley and see what Kellen Moore can do if he can be the head coach. I also think they might be in the Bill Belichick sweepstakes. They just like trade for Belichick. He wants a quarterback, but I don't know if he wants to move to the West Coast, retire in LA.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. The complete opposite of what we've seen out of him. Brandon Staley just
don't get me started. I hate him so much. And when Brian Flores gets a head coaching job, he's going to be the Vikings DC, and I'm going to be sad.
Packers face the Giants too. I mean,
the Packers' schedule is atrocious. They play nobody.
I don't want to stream against Tommy DeVito ever.
The GOAT, Tommy the GOAT DeVito, leads the NFL in touchdown percentage.
I had the best touchdowns parlay ever last weekend, except I put Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown on there. Everything else was just Ramondre Stevenson touchdown, then the Giants spread, Giants money line, and every Tommy DeVito prop. And the only thing that didn't hit was Saquon Barkley touchdown.
And normally the Giants are terrible when Saquon doesn't score.
Yeah, exactly. And that they weren't necessarily great, but
look at this Packers schedule after the Chiefs: Giants, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota. God.
Yeah, Chicago too in week 18.
Yeah, who cares about the Bears?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably worth holding on to for that reason. That's a good point. But this is just this is one of those weeks where you've got to make some decisions. Like, here's the thing, though. You'll have a chance to get them back off waivers because they're not going to have a massive day against the Chiefs, So you might be able to battle on the waiver wire for them next week if you do drop them. Jalen Warren or Rashee Rice, half PPR. Jalen Warren and half PPR. And a must win, should I start Puka or A-Chain? Only way I could bring A-Chain back off is to rock with no tight end this week. No. I mean, I do think I would rather start A-Chain, but yeah. So you got to pull someone off. Okay. You got to pull A-Chain off the IR and then drop someone. You don't want to drop Hawk or Kincaid. I don't blame you. Gosh, some of these circumstances.
This is like the week from hell. Like, everybody's beat up. There's 6 teams on bye. Good teams are playing other good teams, so it's like awful matchups for like people that you don't really want to get rid of but might have to. It's bad.
I have one league where my bench is Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, Keaton Mitchell. Then I have Amari Cooper, who's going to play now, and then I have Dalton Schultz, who's out. So yeah, Cooper's in my lineup now, and Schultz is on my bench. Then I had to pick up Russell Wilson to start him because I need a quarterback for the week. So it's a mess. But I mean, you got to start someone at every position. So I guess you go Puka if you can't really drop anyone, but I'd rather start A-Chain. Yeah, Nick, it's a tough choice there. If you really want to hold on to the Packers, it might be worth it. You don't want to start him this week, but I think you just drop Schultz. It sucks, but I think that's the route you go because at least you have Kincaid the rest of the year, and you're probably going to start Kincaid anyways the rest of the season. How do you feel about Jalen Warren rest of the season? Drop Connor for him, or would it be better to snag a second defense? No, I just keep one defense, and I would try to have Jalen Warren and James Conner if you could, compared to having a second defense. It's tough because Connor's not like finding the end zone a ton right now. Jalen Warren is still in like a 50-50 split, though. So let's look at matchups for the rest of the year because this is a close one.
Pittsburgh did get 400 yards of offense for the first time in 37 years. So
still
maybe
13 touches for Warren. Yeah.
But they did go, it was a lot of Najee, which I don't like to see. I'm not a Najee guy, big Jalen Warren guy. But maybe they got something figured out.
If 16 total touches, including receptions for Jalen Warren, compare that to Najee, who had 15 touches. So it's like 50-50. It's just one found the end zone, one did not, They get Arizona this week, New England, Indy, Cincy, Seattle. It's not a bad schedule for Warren. And they're going to be in the playoff hunt where the Cardinals might be eliminated.
They're eliminated this weekend.
Yeah, if they lose, they're eliminated. So, and they have a bye week. Then after the bye, they get San Francisco. Then they get Chicago, who the Chicago run defense is apparently very good. Then they play Philly, best team in the league against the run. So I'll go Jalen Warren. Don't you like how we figure that out?
Math, brains, we smart.
Start one at running back and at flex. A-Chain, Brian Robinson, or Najee. I think Brian Robinson is a guy that you can always start. So I will probably go Brian Robinson because he's just quietly good. He's the RB4 in fantasy. A little bit inconsistent, but he has somehow managed that. And then I like A-Chain and Najee this week. For a floor, go Najee. For upside, go A-Chain. All right, need a streaming wide receiver and a flex this week. Who's a better pickup? Guyton, Dortch, Spears. I would definitely go Greg Dortch. As soon as I started to read this question, I was hoping Greg Dortch was available. He's my favorite, like, pick him up right now, play him because he have no better choice guy. To bring A-Chain back, I could drop the Eagles defense. I have the Dolphins defense, but playoffs favors the Eagles. To me personally, you can figure it out at defense later on. It's always nice when you can stash a defense. But man, if you got to make moves to start running backs or wide receivers, you make those moves. That's the way I look at it. So I'd probably drop the Eagles. That's probably what I would do personally. London or Watson need more of an upside play. Well,
Watson, baby, that's your guy.
Paul Blart, I will go with Watson. Pick 3 to start: Bijan, Moss, Hall, Connor, White. Bijan, Zach Moss, Rashad White. Easy.
2 of your 3 boys.
Yeah. Keep rolling with Bijan, Zach Moss. We finally get a positive Zach Moss, and then Rashad White plays the Panthers. So he's a start. What's going on, Albert? Good
Another
to see
bet. You. Another bet I have over 62.5 yards. Rashad White.
I love Rashad White rushing prop this week for sure. And I like the Bucks to win that game. Pretty decent odds for facing the Panthers. Non-PPR, pick 2 to start: Dell, Ridley, Puka, Wilson.
Ooh.
Dell, Ridley. Easy. Keep rolling with them. What's up, Jonesy TV? Good to see you. Jawan Johnson, Brevin Jordan, or Everett. Half point PPR, pick 1. Yeah, I think Everett is a guy you can always take a chance on if you need to. The Patriots have been good against tight ends, but I'll say Jawan Johnson if you're looking for a safe floor based on just reception value. And I'll say Everett if you're looking for a touchdown-dependent guy. He did score against the Ravens for what it's worth. I'm not going to go with Brevin Jordan, but I know he's been popular this week. Kraft or Jawan or Brevin Jordan to back up Kincaid. I will go Jawan, but I do think Tucker Kraft's kind of interesting. But let's see it on a consistent scale. He scored once last week, so I don't know. Do you like Tucker Kraft at all? Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, like not really. No, I would say no.
Jawan Johnson.
Yeah, I feel like Johnson's just kind of he's kind of got that buzz this week.
Casey says I'll drop Connor and he'll score 2 touchdowns in the game.
It's a revenge game.
Probably, yeah. Mel got a joke. Kamish is upset because I will lose this week on purpose because I traded to have mostly week 13 buys. I'm in first and locked up a playoff spot.
Smart. I like that strategy. It is a strategy. I like it.
I like that too. Tell your commissioner we like that strategy. Victor, what's up, man? Just a dumb regression. Pickett has 0 passing touchdowns the last 3 weeks. Good matchup this week after the season. I'm passing yards last week with a new coordinator. Can we expect 2 touchdowns?
No, it's Pittsburgh. They refuse to score touchdowns.
Also, Pickens 0 touchdowns the last 4 games. Can we expect a positive regression for him as well? So we kind of talked about this earlier-ish. Maybe, but do you really want to risk it in your starting lineup in week 13 of the fantasy season? That's what it boils down to. If you're absolutely desperate, if you're in a super flex league, maybe Pickett's okay this week for sure. This Cardinals defense sucks, but they're also really bad against the run. And Jalen Warren and Najee Harris are probably going to be the vocal point of this game script for the Steelers game plan. So maybe that's as far as I will go. How about Zay Jones at flex? I mean, I don't really personally like him. He's just there so Calvin Ridley can play better.
That's all we need. So Ridley can finally get some touchdowns.
I would much rather start Greg Dortch personally. But I see why you might want to start Zay Jones, but like he had 3 targets in week 12 and 4 in week 11, and combined across the last 2 weeks, he's at 8 fantasy points. So he just really hasn't been that same factor that he was last year at all. What's going on, Ryan? We got Cooper or Deontay? Deontay in full PPR. Any other format, I'll go Cooper.
I'm surprised he's not benched after the video from last week where the fumble. Oh my God.
Still had 8 targets last week, I think. So if you can kind of match that against Arizona, probably say 4. I think Cooper's fine.
We just don't know. Like, it could be okay. It could be a disaster.
He could be a solid 12-ish points. He could find the end zone even, or he could have like 3 points, and Joe Flacco could
retire.
Joe
Flacco retires at half.
I wouldn't blame him. He's like made a ridiculous amount of money just being Joe Flacco. So I'll probably go Deontay Ray. There's another player I can get with ETN that'll be fair trade value for JJ. If you're trading JJ, you need to get at least a guy like a big name wide receiver. Okay, so I mean, shoot, even if it's Garrett Wilson or Jamar Chase, like at least you're getting that type of value back, right? Even if they haven't had that same value this season. So it's just tough to say. It really is. But I mean, you probably don't want to shoot that low because like those guys aren't going to bring too much value to the rest of the season. But
how about somebody like Diggs?
Yeah, maybe Diggs. Sure. I would take Diggs and ETN for JJ. So if you're asking me, I prefer the Diggs and ETN side. So Chris, just look at if you're trading to the team with ETN, look at what wide receivers they have and what do you think is fair? Thoughts on Conklin? I think he's okay. It is actually a good matchup. I expect like 4 or 5 targets, and we'll see what he does with it. Cade Otton or Pitts? Who should I start? Who's a higher floor? I go Cade Otton. I go Cade Otton. What's up? Or you're welcome, Jonesy. What do you think about Olave playing? Olave is going to play this week. He's going to be great.
We need him to play this week.
Yeah, he's going to ball out against the Detroit Lions secondary. I've already called it. So there's just no way he can't play. We'll just have to kind of monitor. He's still listed as questionable. And I don't know if we're going to quite know until Sunday rolls around. But it's a 1:00 game, so we might know early Sunday. If not, we'll know tomorrow. Everett and Juwan over Pitts. I would. Pitts has done nothing in the last couple of weeks. But, if you want to roll Pitts out there, you always have a shot. Will Breece Hall and Godwin play tomorrow? I was thinking since Godwin has a later kickoff time. I think both those guys are trending towards playing, last I checked. Playing against Pickett and Freiermuth in a must-win, so they'll both drop 20 or more. Yeah. For what it's worth, the one thing the Cardinals have been good at this year is playing against tight ends. And the Bengals are one of the worst teams. So Freiermuth, I know, blew up last week, but he might not play as well. But he's still fine to start. Definitely starting Dortch at wide receiver 2. I need a flex. Bye week is killing me. Oh, my bad. I would not go Zay Jones. Hold on, streaming up. I'll go Guyton. I go Dortch, and then I go Guyton in the flex out of the options who are available for you. Who do you trust most, Cooper or Deontay Hollywood? I trust Hollywood for sure. I mean, maybe not for sure, but personally, I think he's going to have a good week. In your experience, what is the best amount of keepers to have in a keeper league? 1. Just keep it simple. 1 guy. Jawan or Everett full PPR? I will go Jawan by a hair. Jawan if you want reception value. Everett if you want touchdown or bust. Will Olave play this week? Yes.
He better.
I am the NFL insider. I'm telling you guys Olave is going to play. Just stay posted if you own Olave. We'll know sometime tomorrow night or early Sunday. Will be my guess.
Yes. If you're up late, whatchamacallit, Adam Schefter will tweet it out at 2:00 in the morning.
If I don't tweet it first. If and only if Olave doesn't play, would you play Dortch or Perry? I would play Dortch. Greg Dortch and Chris Olave, my big calls of the week. All right, guys, we made it to the bottom of the chat. We're over an hour, so that is our cue to go ahead and wrap things up. If you guys have anything last minute that you need, make sure to get it in. We'll hit it very quick. Other than that, thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Of course, thank you guys, as always, for the fantasy questions. Make sure you guys go check out Pete's channel, After the Review Sports. I have the link pinned in the chat for you guys. Go drop Pete a sub for helping us out on Friday nights. And, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you guys consider subscribing. Instagram and Discord links are down below. And that will wrap it up. Pete, you have anything you want to throw out before we get off here?
No, I hope Chris Olave plays. But as always, Fridays nights are the best nights, especially for fantasy football. We're here, like playoffs. It's nitty gritty time. You know, even if you aren't in the playoffs, ruin somebody's week. I'm going to say it every single week. Ruin their week, ruin their season, and then just don't come in last place. When your consolation, don't come in last. No punishments. I know there's a lot. Punishments are the thing now, and it's very scary.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that trend.
It's a good move.
Joe, still Torum. Do I play a healthy Jamar Chase or a questionable Tank Dell? Tank Dell. Throw Tank Dell in there, man.
He's our guy.
You'll probably know, like, if Dell doesn't play, you can just play Chase because Chase doesn't play till Monday night. So you'll be good, man. Good to see you, Joe. Are y'all playing Cup? Only if you have to. Only if you have to. I have a bad feeling. Olave is playing. Boom. Perfect way to end the stream. All right. Thank you guys for the fantasy questions tonight. Hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will be on tomorrow, so I will talk to you guys soon. If you guys need anything, throw it out on Discord. Tag me. That way I see it, and I'll get back to you guys when I can. All right, man. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fan. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And